Wednesday or Tuesday. See, I'm already screwing up, DMac.
Nah, you're good, Stick.
Happy Tuesday to everybody. Welcome to Big D Energy.
Big D.
My name is Stick. I'm filling in for Neil Rule because he has the sweetest pipes in all of the land, and he is calling Oakland University basketball while they are on the road.
The
so
sweetest
go
pipes.
Grizzlies.
I don't know if that came out the way you thought it was going to come out.
He does, man. I wish I had Neil Rule's voice. Said I got
That's
stuck
better.
with mine, and I don't
That's
even
better.
like my voice.
That's
But
better.
you guys get to hear it for the next 2 hours, along with Darren McCarty, the man to my left, four-time Stanley Cup champion. And we'll put you down with the left. And then, of course, the one, the only, the mythical Joique Bell is with us.
Mythical. If it's mythical.
The gang version.
But we are here. We have fish in the aquarium. All right. Sawyer, what up, though?
How we doing?
We're doing
Ready for
swell.
another great show today.
Who's that guy
You know?
behind you there?
Oh, that guy? You
That
mean
big guy.
Spencer? My bodyguard?
That's our bouncer.
Absolutely. Security
Stand up,
still
Spencer.
big man.
Stand up.
up.
Stand
in the
up
booth.
so people can see how tall you really are.
He's about to eat me.
Well, and one thing you
He's
should know
big.
about Spencer, him and his buddies work out in a garage together. Like, that's how dedicated. He was talking to me this morning about how his workout regimen is just
is
him and
he-
his buddy.
are you one
You
of
in a
those
don't want to
guys,
fight a
Spencer?
guy who works out in his
Are you one of
garage.
those
Yeah.
guys? Oh, yeah. Have you ever seen the Den of Thieves?
Yes.
Do you remember when 50 Cent took his daughter prom date into the
garage?
with all the fellas?
Yep.
Is that? Are you one of those guys, Spencer?
Oh yeah,
Okay.
I mean, look at him.
gotta get that intimidation.
Definitely one of those guys.
So we got a lot of stuff planned for today's show. Not only are we going to get somebody qualified for those front row tickets to Thanksgiving Day, we got the turkey games coming up right at noon. We'll get you qualified. So make sure you're watching on YouTube. But yeah, Joique Bell, Darren McCarty, my name is Stick. Let's get right into it. The Lions are playing the Steelers this week. And, whew, are we going to get that first win, I guess, is my first question. Joique, let's kick it off with you, our Lions expert. We're going to have Corey Woods come in here a little bit later on, too, to discuss what he's been witnessing at camp and behind the scenes. But how you feeling about the Steelers this week, Joique?
You know what, man? Judging on what we saw last night, Ben isn't the same Ben, but the thing is, Ben can still get the job done. He showed that in the last minute of the game when he took his team down, put him in position to kick the game with a field goal. Now, I look at it, and you just don't know what lines you're going to get. It's just not consistent, and that was my concern at the beginning of the season was we don't have the depth to be consistent. It's hard to come in, week out, and have 4 good quarters of good football. It's hard to have 4 quarters of good football.
Right.
And we haven't seen that. I think the most complete game we probably seen from them would you say, was it against the Ravens?
That's what I was going to say, Baltimore.
Yeah,
and they had a chance to win that game. And you
Yeah.
saw last night, they missed a 65-yard field goal to win the game. It wasn't the Ravens.
And the funny thing
but against
is,
us, you make the 66.
and you know what's hilarious? Though? We're watching the game, and he kicks it, and the commentator screams out, "Oh, off the crossbar! Oh, it was close!" And then they replayed it and landed in the front of the end zone.
It didn't even come close.
It didn't even come close. The other commentator said, "Well, we must have been watching from a different angle." But if you listen to the commentator, it's off the crossbar, and it bounces.
So he must have been watching the TV feed, because
Yeah.
from the TV feed, it kind of
Kinda
looks like
like
it bounces off the crossbar a little bit. But, yeah, that was about 10 yards short.
It doesn't hit the crossbar and then goes under the crossbar like that into the back of the end zone. And then they showed it from a different angle. But, yeah, it's just – you just don't know what lines you're going to get. And just for my love for the Lions, the Steelers team that I saw last night, I think we have an opportunity to beat them if we can play the way we played against the Ravens. Now, if we play the way we played against the Bengals, then no, we don't have a shot.
Right.
But like I said, you don't know which one you're going to get.
So when you're sitting there 0-8, DMac, and you're facing a Steelers team that has a potential Hall of Fame quarterback coming in town next week, as a player, how are you gearing up to get that first win? And is that monkey just so heavy on your back that it kind of preoccupies what you're doing?
I don't know. Why are you asking me? I don't know what it's
You've
like.
never
to
been on
sit
a
in a-
losing team like that?
No.
In Junior B,
Okay.
we had a team that won
Junior
7
B.
games, but we also shocked the world in the playoffs, made it to the finals, the conference. It's about attitude, right? It's about the message. I think the best thing to come out of Alan Park and Dan Campbell is when he was asked about OBJ, and he just went, "Are you kidding me? Not a chance." You know what I mean? Because it's the culture and what they're building. What they have to do is, hopefully, getting away, they all got a little bit refreshed and a little bit hungry because the work ethic's there. The team just has to play better, right? The inconsistency. Which line? Joique said it. Which Lions are we going to get? Now, the great part about playing this weekend, and yes, Ben Roethlisberger is capable, but he's immobile. So can we get pressure on him? Can we stop Najee Harris, who, by the way, Steve Levy, he slept in his bed. He said it on Twitter. He didn't sleep on the floor. All right, and great things that him and his mom are doing for the homeless community. But the bottom line is they still have some weapons. They're still a little dangerous. We have to worry about the TJ Watts and the Haywoods, and their defense still looks good. I don't think we're going to win, but the thing is that it's not the same old Pittsburgh team that we're used to, so they can win. And the fact is they're playing at home, coming off a bye. I don't know.
I'm going to tell you, if there was a year that we can beat the Steelers in the past,
that's what I'm saying.
This would be the year for it. If we can play consistent, we can get the run game going. We can open it up for Jared Goff. He can have a clean pocket because in order for him to be successful, he needs that clean pocket. I think it's quite evident that when he doesn't have a clean pocket, he's not that effective.
Right.
So we have to keep him clean. And one way to keep him clean to make sure that run game is taking off and taking some pressure off of him because he doesn't have the arm that you can depend on.
Well, you talked a little bit about what Dan Campbell said about Odell Beckham Jr. coming to Detroit, and we actually have those comments. Sawyer, let's hear what Dan Campbell had to say about the potential of maybe Odell coming here.
Specifically, will you guys be in the market for Odell Beckham?
No.
Okay.
When you're desperate for a win and you could probably use an upgrade at a position, what is the conversations like around a player like that when they hit the market midseason?
Yeah, look, Brad and I talk about everything, and he was no different. So he was no different. I would leave it at that, Justin. Look, our ears and our eyes are open to everything. And if there was a certain way to make things work, we'd be open for just about any player if it made sense.
That's what I love about Dan Campbell, right? Is that he told you everything without saying everything, which looked back in. And I like the way Justin Rogers asked that question, right? Because that tells me that they know about everybody, every practice squad, every this and that. So to what they're building here, and maybe they realize, right? Guy who sits in that chair every day, Neil Rule, right? It's about the cap space and losing every game because it gives you the better draft quad. Maybe that's where they're sort of at, and not to put a guy in there that might help. Odell Beckham, he's a cancer. We know that. He said the eyeball test and everything. He pretty much told you how they feel about him. But it also goes to me, there's something that tells me that the plan stinks right now, but they're sticking to whatever their plan is. And there's communication. Those are things we didn't hear before, right, out of the prior regime. So, like it or not, these guys are going to go down swinging.
Yeah, they're grinding it out. I mean, they're like, to use water eventually finds its way through a rock, and that's the way I feel Dan Campbell is right now. Like, it's a slow process, but it's the right process, and it's the long way to go about it, but in the end, it's going to be beneficial. Well, what do you think about Odell Beckham maybe coming to Detroit?
No, I like the analogy of, it's like water being against a rock, and it breaks the rock not because it's, it's hard, but because it's persistent. And so when we talk about bringing Odell Beckham here, because he's still a young player. He's 29 years old. We can bring him here, and he could be a part of this team in 20 plus games when we do become a good team. But the thing is with him is he doesn't want to go to a team to where he's not on a team that's a contender. Right. Because if that was the case,
but what does that say about him not wanting to be the man and make a team a contender? I mean, is it just, hey, I'm only going to join you if you can do something for me? Like, you know, you go back to the Jordan, The Last Dance. The reason he was so great is he took the Bulls that were kind of irrelevant and made them relevant, and that's why he's the greatest. Like, where is Odell's will to be great?
It wasn't, but listen, though, it took him a long time to make them relevant. Right, it wasn't.
It's work.
Right. It took him 6 years or 7 years for them to become relevant and become a contender. And so, in football, you don't have that much time. And when you're not the quarterback, it's even longer, right? And so, for him, I think he has until 4 o'clock today to a team to take over his contract. If not, then he's a free agent. And I think it works out for everyone though, because a team that's not a contender won't pick him up. Say he doesn't get picked up, they don't have to take over that contract because he still has it's a bit of a massive contract, And then he can be a free agent. Now he can pick and choose where he wants to go. So it's a win-win for everyone. I think he's handled it well. He hasn't been out there in the media. He hasn't been bad-mouthing the Browns. He hasn't been doing anything. It was just a marriage that didn't work out, and now they have to get a divorce, which I think it went as good as anyone can hope for. And so for him, he can leave out this situation. Like I said, he had a event a couple weeks ago or a week and a half ago or so where he had a party at a certain venue where none of his teammates came out to. Like none of them.
It's like draft day. Did anybody show up to his birthday party?
Yeah, like no one came to him. Now, does that talk about his character? From my encounters with Odell Beckham, he's always been a great stand-up guy. We trained together a couple summers, and when I played, and always showed up to work. And I think he's grown as a player. I think he's matured. And I think he's just in a situation now to where, listen, I want to be with a team that's a contender. I want to win now, and that's nothing against him because at the end of the day, in the NFL, your career is short.
What team do you see him winding up with if
I
he's
think
a free agent?
I think a team that he can go there and be effective, right? And they need another guy to go there and kind of take the heat off of Hollywood Brown. I think he'll be a good fit over there with the Ravens. I think he'll be a good fit there.
I thought we talked about this last week, and I going through it. I went over it this weekend and just said that that's probably the best fit for him with the quarterback. But here's the one thing you asked about build. Guys aren't built differently. Just because we think because he has all this talent that he wants to go through the grind that some of the greats to make themselves great. To me, he's more of a hired gun. Okay. Right? He's more in the Antonio Brown sort of mentality that he is that piece that can get you over the top, and he's not that piece you're going to build your culture around. He's got to believe in going there. Maybe it's, I don't know, his relationship with Lamar Jackson or different things like this, but it can go.
Can you imagine that?
Well, what it does, it takes that Baltimore, which we always have in the back of our mind when push comes to shove. Yeah, Lamar Jackson can run, but they, got a deep threat, but he can't do it when push comes to shove. At the lights are on the brightest because he doesn't have the guys around him. Right now, we've seen more of him develop his arm, develop his throwing, being able to run out, and instead of taking off with his legs, he's using it downfield. Mark Andrews, his tight end, is his greatest asset for the short routes. Hollywood Brown for the long. You get Odell in there, and to be a positive influence, like you said, when you trained with him, to a Hollywood Brown too. That makes the Baltimore Ravens, in my opinion, that much more of a contender.
Now the only thing is, I can see him going to I can also see him going to LA because that's also like home for him as well. Like, so I don't know if he sold it, but I know he had a home there, so it's like.
Is there enough balls? There's enough guys for the balls. That's what I mean.
That's the thing, though. If you're going to be a contender, you want to go to a team that's a contender.
Yeah, but
you have to be willing to go there.
I like the Patriots. I think he could fit in well with the Patriots.
You think he could fit in with Bill Belichick?
I do. I mean, Bill Belichick can handle Randy Moss and how crazy Moss was when he got him.
No, but he got Randy Moss at the end of his career.
Handling it.
Odell's at the end, though.
No, he's
Odell's not in his prime anymore.
He could probably play another 5 more years. Odell could probably play another 5 more years. He caught Randy like the last year or two of his career, I believe. And he was on his way out, and he's a little bit more mature. I think going back home to LA will be good for him from a financial standpoint. He already has a home there. He's going to be on a team that's going to be. They're going to make a run in the playoff. Let's just be frank about it. They're going to make a run in the playoff. I know that make it to the second and third round probably so. I don't see the Patriots. I don't see him being like the missing link or the missing piece to the Patriots team to take them over the hump. Now, I think he could be that piece with the Ravens because you look at Lamar Jackson. Let's not talk about him not being able to bring his team back with being down in the fourth quarter and bringing his team back and winning the game with a guy like Odell Beckham can come, and you guys might not be in that position going in the fourth quarter against the Vikings.
Yeah, well, we'll find out. 4 o'clock today is when he'll officially be a free agent if nobody claims him off waivers. So we'll find out where Odell Beckham Jr. is going. And if you want to place a bet on it, maybe you're a gambling person and you think you know where he's going to go, just go to mybookie.com right now and you can place your bet on where Odell Beckham's going. You can bet on all the crazy sports that Fish likes. They got cricket on there. College basketball is tipping off tonight. Michigan State is playing Kansas. So lots of stuff you can bet on tonight, and do it at mybookie.com. Make sure when you sign up you use promo code Woodward, and if you have a gambling problem, make sure you call 1-800-270-7117. That is the Michigan Gambling Hotline.
Tony is a third-generation logger that has a simple, practical approach to life and work. That's why his Coast DX342 knife is perfect for him. The stainless steel blade is rust-resistant and made for all-weather use. And the double roll-lock safety ensures that it will never inadvertently close when he doesn't want it to. That's why Coast is trusted tough.
Welcome back. It is Big D Energy. My name is Stick, filling in for Neil Rule, but the guys that are always supporting Neil are here as well. Darren McCarty, 4-time Stanley Cup champion, and of course Joique Bell. And so we were talking a little bit about the Steelers when we were talking about the Lions, because that's who the Lions are playing this week. But last night the Steelers took on a division rival of ours, the Chicago Bears, and it was actually a pretty damn good game to watch. I enjoyed this all the way through.
Would you call it a good game or a close game? It's a difference.
Close game.
It was a close game.
Well,
it was a close game.
I had other interests going on with my fantasy league. Like, I needed Claypool and I needed Fairmouth not to score over 30 points. While I had Cam Haywood, I needed him to score like 8 points, and all those things happened for me last night. But I was invested till the very last snap, because if Fairmouth catches another late touchdown, I could have lost last night. So for me, it was entertaining the whole way through. I was sweating last night because of fantasy.
Okay. All right. Well, okay.
You're not impressed with that at all? You thought it was a boring game?
Oh, my gosh.
There's how many penalties? Like,
it was like they had what? I mean, when I checked, I think they had like 19 penalties for 119 yards or something like that. It was something ridiculous, and it was just a game where it was just like the game. Okay, so the game to me was, it shouldn't have been as close as it was. The special team fumble where we don't have the play, but it was just a bad punt return.
Yeah.
Before he even fumbled the ball, in my head I'm thinking, like, what are you doing? Like, even when I play punt returner, I know that I'm going to make my break 5 yards from the defender. Like, he was like 2 yards from the defender, had to stop his momentum, lost his feet, and the biggest mistake he made when he tried to spin out, he just didn't protect the ball. Ball elbow,
like on his side.
Like, the ball is away from your body, you're spinning, you're wild with the ball, and then you fumble off the terrible punt return. And then if you can listen to, you don't know who it is, but someone screams out, you can hear it on the TV, "Are you serious?" before he even fumbled. Are you serious? It had to be one of the coaches.
How many times does that go on that we don't hear? Like things in the side or in the game or whatever like that?
All the time.
All the time?
All the time. Even, and then the refs are making boneheaded calls in key situations, like the call that was that on Marsh?
Yeah, on Marsh. This was crazy.
It was just ridiculous. He didn't say anything.
So yeah.
Didn't the ref back into him?
So previous to this, Marsh makes a great play. He does like a little roundhouse kick as his celebration. The other fat lineman comes in, does a little roundhouse kick. Then Marsh starts just staring at the Steelers' sidelines. This is after he turned around and was heading back to his sideline. And to me, it looks like the official leaned in. That's a lean-in right there by the official.
But the call was taunting to the sideline. But he was already going for the flag. But he didn't hear him. He just looked at him.
I felt so bad for him. Did you see him come off the field? The coach was in his face.
But the coach needs to shut up and sit down. that wasn't his fault.
Right. Well, you saw the coach apologize later, which was my favorite part.
Emotions are high.
Right.
But as a coach, you need to know, like, all right, emotions are high. All right, let me reevaluate. But like you said, like, just understand. But he went back and apologized after, they went out there and stopped him.
Right.
After they stopped him. Now, if they don't stop him, is he still going to apologize? You know what I'm saying? Like, is he still going to, but it was a great play by him. They should never call a play. They should never make that type of call, and that's that type of situation of the game.
Well, the poor kid just got called up from the practice squad that very day, too. Like, he had a Cinderella story, called off the practice squad, make the potential game-winning sack to get the ball back, and then you turn into the GOAT just like that. Not like the greatest of all time, like the GOAT, the black sheep. Right. That's awful, man. You feel for those practice squad guys, right?
But I think when they go back there, I don't think they're going to hold that against him. I think he was playing hard. He was emotional. But the guy that I was impressed with, because I didn't like this guy coming out. I didn't like I'm not going to say I didn't like him, but I wasn't high on him. I wasn't high on Justin Fields. But I liked the way he was able to take his team down and make some crucial throws in key situations of the game when they needed it, right? That fumble punt, that fumble punt return got them back in the game. Defense went out there, made a stop. They got the ball back, took it down, took the lead for the first time in the game, I believe. And then, Big Ben went back to the old Big Ben. He wasn't the new Big Ben. He went back to the old Big Ben. Even when Big Ben tried to do the RPO.
I was going to say, did you see that play
when
for
he
a
ran to
raging
get the
1
RPO,
yard?
I loved it, but it just looked like he was running in quicksand.
He's not mobile no more. So hopefully we can get to him.
And that's the thing with him now. I feel like he's lost his ability to be able to have that pocket pressure and just step. I mean, he used to be the quarterback that can just kind of step and shed a tackler and get back into
presence.
Right. He doesn't have that anymore. I feel like he's not comfortable in the pocket, and that's the thing that I have with Justin Fields. I don't feel like he's comfortable in the pocket.
Did you see the one he went to rip into it and throw it downfield, and it looked like one that I threw, and that somebody had to come back 10 yards for it?
Hey, they got it, though.
Here's the thing, right? Here's the thing. You mentioned Cinderella GOAT story for the kid Marsh and stuff, and yeah, if you just see the replay of the ref's hip, the flag was for taunting, not for the hip. But here's the thing: that was against the team that cut him.
Oof.
They cut him in preseason. So
it's an even better story.
About going back on, you know what I'm saying?
Right.
So that's just when we talk about refereeing or umpiring or whatever in any sport. When we're focusing too much on that, then it's definitely taken away from the game. And last night was a combination of that. I mean, I'd like to see, because not only that, some of the hits Justin Fields took a late hit.
Oh, by Fitzpatrick.
Like 2 steps.
Yeah.
Like the different things like that. There was a touchdown call back to Jimmy Graham for that. It wasn't really a legal block because it wasn't out of the tight end. Like, too much in college, too much in pro, too much in all sports. We're talking about refs.
Do you think, and I know this is kind of a loaded question, talking to 2 former professional athletes, but, we saw this with Rasheed Wallace and Tim Donaghy back in the day, where Tim Donaghy got caught actually fixing games and taking money. Do you think with sports gambling becoming so much bigger and so much a part of our culture, is it easier to get to these refs in that capacity? Do you think that's happening?
I don't think it's easier.
I don't think
it's easier. I think that the steps have been taken because you're prepared for it. So the Donaghy, which was the ref that took bribes in the NBA and betting, well, now with everything more legal, right, with gambling in the States and stuff like this, that the insulation of more protected. So I wouldn't think that. I just think it's bad. It's just bad officiating. So that leads me to they're not getting taught how to officiate the game properly.
And NFL officials are part-time still, right? They're not full-time employees.
Yeah, they are.
I think
That's
so dumb.
How do you be the
I have
biggest...
a couple of friends. I have a couple of friends that are refs, and I remember I saw one. They were actually reffing. They were reffing the Titans and Rams game, and I saw him. I said, "Oh yeah, I forgot," because I was seeing him here in Detroit a lot. We'll talk about kind of like their contract with the NFL, and he would tell me about like how the game is. The contracts are good. We're all treated good. So it's different. And so, we have those conversations. But in the NFL, you can. I mean, they can get to the refs. I mean, they can get to them. I mean, you'll never know because
and everybody's human.
Because and this is the thing. This is the thing. When you cheat in the NFL, it doesn't have to be multiple bad calls. It could be one bad call. It could be one bad call in a certain situation of the game that flips some momentum, and now they've done their job. Now they've done it. They don't have to, because that's how good and that's how close the error of margins are in the NFL. You can make one mistake and it can cost you the game. It can cost you the game. It could be that one call, that one pass interference you don't call, or that one pass interference that you call that's kind of close, that you give it to them. And it's just like, if it's a 50-50 ball, if it's a jump ball, they're going to give it to the team that, but you know what I'm saying? But I think the NFL, they're making so much money on these games, and the industry is so big that they have people who are standing tuned to what's happening around the NFL and the people who work for the NFL.
To protect the integrity of it.
To
I mean,
protect
honestly, if it
integrity.
ever got out that one of the refs was shaving and all that, it would cause so many issues.
Right, and so I think the NFL, they have somebody that's kind of watching all of these things from the background.
Well, you got to understand, too, is that all these gambling sites have all these casinos, everything else, so there's more eyes, that's security to not only to the gambling, but there's tons of eyes. I would have expected, and I would expect, because of the money generated and stuff, that we would see NFL referees go full-time sooner than later, which you would hope, which is the biggest.
It makes no sense.
How do
to
you
me.
not? You own all the money. You make all the decisions in the world. You're the biggest power. And yet you don't have the full-time employees that have the biggest effect on the outcome.
Which business-wise, I don't understand, because it's not like
saves money.
If does it though? Because how many refs are they employing? I mean, they're past the mark of a small business, no matter what they do. So, like, I know a buddy of mine owns another business, and if he goes over 50 employees, it takes him into a different tax bracket. So I get that, right? But NFL has over 50 employees. Like, they're a large corporation. How much would they lose by making these guys full time and being able to fire them and hold them accountable?
I don't know. Has the question been answered?
I think it's a big
Has the
picture.
NFL ever answered that question, like Goodell? Is why have you continued not to?
I think it's the bigger picture. All right, I think it's a bigger picture, because once they come in and hire them as full time. Now they have the union now they have their union, and now they want the pension.
But as long as the product's better, I don't care about all that, right?
But I'm just telling you, this probably might be the bigger picture. Now when they retire, now we want this, we want that. We want this. We want these benefits.
So
we want this benefit
all
packages.
the other professional leagues that have employed like that don't make as much money as the NFL. I don't
I'm not saying I
understand
agree.
what you're.
I'm just throwing out probably the hypotheticals on probably why they haven't. I don't know why.
That
Right.
doesn't make sense though.
And that's the thing.
When
I
the
don't think
other
any of us
leagues-
can
when the
make
other
sense of
leagues
it.
do.
Yeah.
It'd be interesting. Maybe I'll ask Corey Woods.
I don't know.
You can ask.
Yeah, we should ask Corey. Or like
Hypothetical.
NHL. Like, why are they full time?
Accountability. Why do they have numbers that you can look it up? It's That's all we're asking for is accountability. And now that people are putting their money and have the ability to bet on this, where they have a more of a losing interest in general population. You would think. I don't.
It
blows my mind.
Yeah, it's absolutely crazy that they don't have full-time officials. And you're absolutely crazy if you haven't been fulling. I mean, you've seen it at every tailgate, but did you know it was invented by a man here in Detroit? Well, he invented it in Indy while he was away at a race. But Detroit people invented this game, and it has taken over the world. And we have the very first Fulling warehouse. It's the official Fulling warehouse right here in Hamtramck. They got $2 beer specials in the mystery machine. You pull up, you put $2 in, and you're going to get a nice craft beer, or maybe a different beer that you've never tried before. But you go, you have a good time. You can bring your own food. You rent the lanes, and we're planning a big holiday party there with Woodward Sports. So you should do the same this holiday season. Call the Fulling Warehouse today. Let them know that Woodward Sports sent you. And, book your lane right now.
Fellas, football season is here. It's time to make your grooming experience easy like Sunday morning. Get to Lady Jane's Haircuts for Men. Walk in, relax, watch your favorite team play, and before you know it, your hair will be game ready. Get to Lady Jane's, open 10 to 8, 7 days a week. Walk in anytime. It's wicked awesome.
Make sure you download the Woodward Sports app in the App Store and the Google Play Store today. Take Woodward Sports with you wherever you go and listen live on your phone or mobile device.
Welcome back back. It is Big D Energy live on the Woodward Sports Network. My name is Stick, filling in for Neil Rule, who is out doing Oakland University basketball play-by-play. And we have Darren McCarty, four-time Stanley Cup champion, on the desk. And then, of course, former Lion, great running back for Wayne State, Joique. The Gorilla is here. And, don't forget, coming up at about noon, we're going to qualify somebody for our Turkey Games. We are giving away front row tickets to the Detroit Thanksgiving Day game. You just got to win Turkey Games. And have you guys watched Squid Games at all? Have you seen the buzz about it?
Oh, yeah.
So we're going to try to reenact
I've seen
this.
the buzz, the clips. I haven't watched it yet, though.
Yeah, so you can start training with your honeycomb. You can start training with red light, green light, because those will be the competitions that you have to win to get those front row tickets. And we're going to qualify somebody coming up at noon. But before we get to that, we got some hockey to talk with Darren McCarty and Joique.
You know what's funny? You talked about the Squid Game, right?
Yeah.
So you know how we always talk about, I always talk about like cryptocurrency. So you know they created like a Squid Game coin?
Did they already?
They created it, and then it shot up like something crazy, and like a few thousand some percent, like within a matter of a few days. And then I think after a week or two, a couple weeks or whatever, the guy who created the coin took all the money out and killed the whole market. The whole market crashed for it. It took the money and ran with it. Like, yeah, that's why you got to do your research on the coin before you invest in it.
Yeah, these new coins are popping up like crazy, definitely do your research. Red Wings going for their third consecutive win tonight. DMac, how's it going to happen?
Well, you know what? The first thing is, before we get into tonight, which is going to be a tough game, playing the Edmonton Oilers. Obviously, Uncle Kenny Holland trying to get that Edmonton team with two of the top players in the league. But before we hit that, last night in the NHL, there's a gentleman named Alexander Ovechkin.
Pretty good.
You might know him. Call him the Grade 8. Probably, well, he is the greatest goal scorer of my that I played against or play. Because he was still there.
That's crazy that he's still part of like that era of NHL.
And I did play with Gretzky too and stuff like this.
That's
but
awesome.
Just like and the only guy that I would compare him to is the guy that he tied for fourth place all-time last night with 741 goals. Yes, the great Brett Hall, for my teammate, 2002 Stanley Cup winner. Now you look, he's 25 goals behind Jaromir Jagr, 60 behind Gordie Howe, and that inevitable and penetrable 153 goals to Wayne Gretzky. But the pace he's on, he can get there.
You think so?
Oh, absolutely. He's got 11 goals this year. He's got 60 shots. He's leading his team in all the statistical categories as far as scoring and stuff. He ain't slowing down. Remember I talked about the other day in different spots. We see Lucas Raymond for the Wings scoring a lot of goals in that hot zone. I related it to a batter's hot zone where he likes the pitches. Well, Alexander Ovechkin can do it in so many different ways. So congratulations to Ovi. He ain't stopping. It's just if he can stay healthy and if he can, we could see another 800 goal scorer for sure.
Yeah, he's by far my favorite non-Red Wing of all time.
Yeah, he's all. And how can you not stick? Because what sold you on him is he finally won the cup and then he's taking a bath with the Stanley Cup in the middle of the fountain.
What really sold me on him early on is every time he'd score a goal, he'd jump up against the glass. And then one time he broke through the glass, and I'm like, this guy's amazing. Like, he's still tweeting this like it's Pee-wees.
He's the difference between both guys that have 741 career goals is Brett Hall was like Barry Sanders. Act like you've been there before. Alexander Ovechkin, act like it's your first goal
You've never been
scored.
there before.
So he's a beauty. Must-see TV. But must-see TV tonight down at LCA, if you're going down there, are the Edmonton Oilers. And why are they must-see TV? Well, arguably, the guy, Connor McDavid, and we're going to show some highlights here of their last game against the New York Rangers, where they were down 4-1, come back. There's first line, Puljujarvi, who is playing with Connor McDavid. Yes, the guy that you've heard Neil Rule talk about as the greatest player in hockey and the separation in any sport to the next greatest player. Well, he'll be playing tonight. So you got Puljujarvi, you got power play that's clicking at 45%. So many different guys. A Darnell Nurse who's coming into his own. So there's so many guys that you have to watch out for, and I haven't even brought up the two most important, which is Leon Draisaitl and Connor McDavid. And this is that goal that we saw the other night where McDavid, watch how he explodes, Stick. Boom, 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 right through the middle, all this and that. And
looks like he's playing against little leaguers, man.
It was something that you'd see when you start playing hockey and there's that one kid that's played longer and he just owns the puck at Little League. That's what it is. So this was a big game. You're dealing with this, and then what you also have is that, like I said, Leon Draisaitl. So you look at right here, and if you're listening on the radio, you cannot give it up because it's bang, watch, bang, and it's in the net. Next thing you know, these guys, Edmonton Oilers, can score. These Edmonton Oilers power play is the most dangerous one in the league, and yet I haven't mentioned. Well, what's the difference between the Edmonton Oilers this year and their lack of success? Well, Ken Holland realized that he needed more of the spunk. So not only they had guys like a Zach Cassidy, but they added a Zach Hyman from the Toronto Maple Leafs, who's their spark plug, a Warren Foegele from the Carolina Hurricanes, which is another physical guy. So they're clicking on all cylinders. And if Mike Smith and their goaltending tandem can play well enough, that's it. He doesn't have to be Andrei Vasilevsky, or he doesn't have to stand on his head every night. He's just got to make the saves that he's supposed to make. This is a dangerous team. These are one of the games during the year that you mark on the calendar, or as I always say, if you're in the meeting room, you put the blue mark on this guy. Well, these guys got about 5 blue marks, maybe 6. This is going to be as entertaining up and down the ice as possible.
Are you going tonight?
I cannot. I will be. There's way more pressing issues up in Genesee County that I have to address with the caregivers. All that schmozzle going on with the caregivers in this state. So Genesee County, I will be up there at your board meeting, because that is
keep the power with the caregivers.
Keep the power with the caregivers. Anyways, but I'll be watching. I'll be watching.
So basically, all Detroit sports teams coming into this year are kind of in the same spot. Everybody is expecting everybody to take a little leap forward, little leap forward, little leap forward. But it appears that the Red Wings are further ahead than everybody else. Do you think there's some inner competition with all the teams, or do you just think the Yzer plan is that far advanced?
No. I think that because you're riding the high seas right now. Because the Red Wings are going to be this inconsistency, right? So one week you're going to feel good.
But they're competitive and enjoyable to watch. Right.
They're watchable. They're absolutely 100% watchable, and that's just not through me. We were playing alumni games. All of us were talking, man, isn't it exciting to be able to see this team because they have the pieces. Show this stat. I found this stat where if you want to look, right, the first overall, speaking of the New York Rangers, and the second overall in 2019 and 20 for the New York Rangers have a combined 4 points combined. Our fifth overall in 2019 and fourth overall in 2020 have 24 combined points, right? Future. So to your question, Stick, I think that all the teams, when you look at LCA, the Pistons have a little bit more to come. I think with what the baseball team's doing, and because they're owned by the Illiches, the baseball and the hockey team, there might be more of a competition that way. But it's all about getting the culture right.
Yeah, it's friendly competition. I'm not saying you're rooting against them.
But it pushes each other. Because even back in the day, you would want to be successful. And I know with the going to work Pistons and all that stuff like this is you have this sort of drive to be better for the fans, and obviously we had to carry the torch, right? We had to carry the torch for a lot of time, but we took pride in that. So now hopefully everybody will be able to carry the torch together. And if I was going to answer your question, here's the best way. Out of all 4 major sports teams, if I was going to buy season tickets, which one do I buy and spend my money on to go watch? Wings for sure. Wings for sure, because of what you're going to get entertainment value and see building to the future.
Joique, when you were playing for the Lions, did you ever feel like some sort of inner city, not I don't want to say rivalry, because that kind of says that you want the worst for the other teams, but did you feel like, the Pistons are doing well right now, we got to top them, or the Tigers are doing well?
Before you answer that, make that apparent statement. There's never, it's all the biggest diehard fans for the other team.
Right.
We want them to be better. We push it. There's
competitive nature.
There's never, we all wear Tiger hats and Pistons hats and like, so
support.
it's always we want everybody support.
So it's funny. So I remember when we were making a push for the playoffs, and I will go around the city and I would see people wearing different city teams. And it will irk me because we're representing where you're from.
Right.
Like you're from here, but you're repping a team over there, which is you probably grew up a fan from over there. But understand that we're repping you guys right now, and we're going to the playoffs, so we're going to need your support because this is your hometown, right? And so, or your home state. And so I went on my Twitter, and we don't have the tweet, but I said, listen, if you're not rocking with the city, then get out. Like, if you want to go, if you're not rocking with the city,
Joique
get out.
went full trick on everybody.
Yeah, like if you're not rocking with the city, then get out. Like go. If that's who you want to support, then go live over there. Then
Right.
And so, but I was always a big fan. So when I play, I would go to Pistons games. I would go to the baseball. I would go to the Tigers game. We would do it as a team. We'll have like a day where the whole team would go. I remember we'll go out to the Pistons game, and when we went to the Tigers game, I remember it was Stafford, Reggie, me, Calvin. It was like we all went to the Tigers game as a team, and they have our support because we want you guys to do well because we feed off that energy. The city feeds off of that energy. It's similar to like playing in the game and one of your teammates does something well, and now you want to go do something well because you want to feel that same type of energy,
right.
and it spreads. It spreads like wildfire. Like,
yeah, I didn't play obviously for any professional team, but as a fan who's watching this from the outside, like I think it's so awesome when I get a Joique Bell at a Red Wings game or a Darren McCarty at a Lions game because it's my favorite worlds colliding together, and it just shows that you guys are all on the same team too. And as a fan, I love to see that, and I think the most successful times in Detroit are when the teams are showing up for each other.
You got to cut through that tension.
Cut it.
You got to cut through it no matter what you want to do or you do not, because if you are a Detroit versus everybody, you too can go to coastportland.com and use WSN20, get 20% off and get yourself a machete if you wish so, or knives or lamps or lights. It's do-it-yourself season. The first responders love it. You too. coastportland.com, WSN20, 20% off. Make sure you tell them Big D Energy sent you. He's sticking for Neil. Joique Bell, Darren McCarty, Woodward Sports Network. We'll see you soon.
Woodward Sports is giving you a chance to sit front row on Thanksgiving. All you have to do is survive our Squid Games. Nope, our turkey games. Listen every day to the Morning Woodward Show at 9 a.m. Big D Energy at noon. And the bottom line at 3 p.m. for your chance to qualify. The winner of turkey games will get tickets to the Thanksgiving Day Detroit game.
Hey, it's Thanksgiving. Shouldn't you be in Detroit losing a football game right now?
Plus a turkey. So if you think you can master our turkey games challenges, watch, listen, and win. Make sure you're following @Woodward Sports on all social media, or go to woodwardsports.com for additional chances to qualify. May the best turkey win.
Welcome back to Big D Energy right here on the Woodward Sports Network and The Roar. My name is Stick, filling in for Neil Rule while he is out calling Oakland University basketball, joined by Darren McCarty and Joique Bell this afternoon because they hold down the Big D part of Big D Energy. I'm just here. Let's get into some college football rankings. The AP poll came out, and Michigan and Michigan State, obviously, both still in the top 10, which some people are shocked that Michigan State is still there after their loss to the Spoiler Makers, which, by the way, is probably the best nickname for any team ever. But here you go. You see it. Georgia number 1, Cincinnati number 2, Alabama. Then you have Oklahoma, Oregon, Ohio State, bunch of O's in a row. Notre Dame, Michigan State, Michigan, and then Oklahoma State rounding out the top 10. I may be alone in this, but I think Michigan should be ranked higher than Michigan State, even though they lost head-to-head. Am I stupid for saying that?
I'm going to tell you this. I'm up in the air about it because, listen, MSU beat Michigan, right? They beat Michigan. So if they were to go to the playoffs right now, MSU should probably get in before Michigan because they have the tiebreaker. Now.
They beat Michigan at their own home, and they were ranked a little bit higher.
Like let's whine about who's 8 and who's 9. Who cares?
I'm not whining about 8 or 9.
Cincinnati is number 2.
Cincinnati's not going to write Cincinnati
should
off.
Be no. But the fact that they're in there, so right now, if they're number 2, when are they going to lose? Until you know what I'm saying? Like, because we were talking about this yesterday.
They're not going to lose.
They're not going to lose.
Right, so they're not going to lose. So they're going to be in the playoffs. But we said the same thing about
MSU. No one thought MSU was going to lose to Purdue.
That's true.
No one thought that.
No, but what I'm saying here, does anybody else? All the talk, everybody, Neil's sitting there, whatever, is Cincinnati screwed. Cincinnati screwed. They're not at the top. They can't get in. They're at number 2.
That's the AP poll, yeah.
Right?
Yep.
Right. So is this the way the college football would end, right? Like, if it ended right there, they'd be number 2 ranked in the country, go to the playoff.
In the AP poll, if we're going to the college football playoff poll, which comes out
there
today,
you go. So that's
different.
So what I'm saying, who cares? This doesn't mean nothing. You see a team in the top 4 that, that's a why you care? So now you bring up, who cares at 8 and 9 anyways? You know, it's who's going to the better bowl.
I want to know perception, and I want to know why these coaches are voting that way and what they're seeing that I'm not.
Head to head, and they don't dial in.
Head to head is fine. You can have that. But Michigan State lost to an unranked team.
You don't get brownie points because you lost on the road.
So did Penn State. But they still in the top 25.
Yeah, but Michigan State lost to an unranked team, and they're ahead of Michigan, who lost to a top 5 team.
They lost on the road. Michigan lost on the road. That counts. Michigan beat Michigan State. That's why they're ahead. It's easy.
Yeah. Then the Boilermakers
they both
should
lost
be
the
up here at
road
some
game.
point.
And it doesn't matter this, and that, but Michigan, and maybe because Michigan coughed up the leads. Maybe because Michigan couldn't. So right now, because they both lost in the Big Ten on the road, and Michigan State beat Michigan, then that's an easy vote for 8 and 9.
Yeah, I mean,
I don't think anybody
we're splicing
really cares.
hairs at 8 and 9. It really doesn't matter. Like they both control their own destiny at this point. They got to win out. They got to beat Ohio State. Michigan's got to take care of business against Penn State, and that's a challenge in itself.
So, I mean,
so my question to you in the same regard is Cincinnati. If they're up there in the coaches poll and they're not going to have a chance to get up there in the regular poll, isn't that the bigger injustice?
I don't know, because I hate putting a Cincinnati team who
I'm just
really
saying the
only
coaches
played
voted them
one
up there.
tough team this year against like a Michigan. Let's use Michigan for example. Michigan lost to a top 5 opponent, top 5 ranked in the nation. I have a rough time saying that if they were playing Cincinnati's schedule, they wouldn't run the table with it either. And that's where like the strength of schedule gets brought in. And you know, this is why we came up with the playoffs, though, so we wouldn't have these conversations. And all it's done is created. Yeah, and even if you make it 8 teams,
still throw up what everybody thinks, because it doesn't matter.
It matters. This is what the coaches think. This matters.
Why? Matters to what?
What the coaches think. I mean, the AP poll has been something.
How does it matter in the big scheme of things? Because it doesn't matter when.
I mean, I see what he's saying.
No, I get it.
I get what he's saying.
But at the end of the day, the AP poll is a thing because they poll the coaches, and this is what the coaches are feeling. So, like, you know, it does, at the end of the day, does it mean something?
What does it matter? Because
it's
the coach's opinion
like
doesn't affect.
So it's just like where they have like the coaches poll for who they feel should be All-Americans.
Right.
Like that makes a big difference. And so, I mean, come on. I mean, Cincinnati's number 2. No one thought they were going to make it there. They're in front of Alabama. So who thought that?
But I'm saying they're not, because this is irrelevant. This has nothing to do with anything other than because if they took into account what the coaches said and used some of that into the like that was an extra category.
That could be the grand scheme, though, in the future. But if you get rid of this, right? If you get rid of this, the people that are actually coaching, right? The people that have the closest eyeball, who knows the game. If you take this out of the equation, you can't even have this discussion about, well, we should take some of what they said.
But how about put it in the equation when it matters?
That's what I'm saying.
Quit wasting my time with having stupid arguments on who's 8 and 9 because it doesn't matter. Like, if this was the other poll where it mattered, then we'd have an argument because you would think that the higher seed got a better bowl game or got a better opportunity or whatever. I agree with what you're saying, Joique, but right now it's a waste of time.
Would you rather be judged by coaches or by the computer system that they use?
Coaches, 100%.
Okay, so
eyeball
so
test.
do you put more stock into
this?
That's
what I'm saying. I put more stock in this as a fan and because these are the guys that are living it. But the fact that this has no relevancy on what I'm going to watch in bowl season because it's all in the computer and doing whatever that. I think Joique, that he nailed what should happen. This should have the super seed on top, but there should be a category. So maybe the points in the coaches poll that put them Cincinnati number 2, right, gets in there, and in the other poll,
like
it maybe get them to 4,
right? Okay.
Or if they deserve it, right? Like, and
like
you
this
can't.
Should be a small
the hard
factor.
part I have is for the athlete. Right, the student athlete at Cincinnati that has done everything that they've been asked to do, done everything else, and because they don't travel well and they don't have a fan base and all that, this is against them, right? Let them fall, right? Let them. I think that the more that you allow this sort of happen and these other teams to go there, it not only helps with recruiting, with possibly NIL and stuff like this, but then if they get blown out, fall on their face, big deal. They put themselves in that position to get there.
Well, we saw this, what was it, Florida Atlantic a couple years ago, and they actually hung a national championship banner because they went undefeated and couldn't make it into the playoffs. So this isn't unprecedented what's happening to Cincinnati or what may happen to them. But do you think if Cincinnati doesn't make the legit playoffs that they could still claim national champions if they go undefeated? Like, Joique, you think that was legit with Florida Atlantic doing that?
No, it'd be the People's Champ.
The People's Champ?
The People's Champ.
So yeah, so let's create a category.
The Coaches Champ.
The hard, like it's not. It's just the fact that I want to see, right? Because what happens if one of these teams does beat? You know what I mean? You got Hoosiers, right? You got you know what I'm saying? You got Jimmy Chitwood out there. You got somebody that gives the opportunity to some of these coaches or some of these programs. I get it. Chuck Brewer said coaches don't watch games that don't affect their season, but they also talk to each other, right? They also have out of conference, whatever, they all have their buddies and stuff like this. So I think that's more of a feel than anything. Than would you rather have coaches or maybe a former coaches? I just don't like the fact that the committee is so, I don't know. There's precedence in it. Right. You talk about refs in the NFL or talk about referees. Is it possible to get to them? It's way more easy to get to somebody who runs somebody who's got a vote on who the team is.
Right, and those are usually just like lowly writers and stuff like that too. But yeah, to your point, it is easier to get to those guys. So, I mean, Michigan State, they both control their own destiny, and obviously we're going to talk a little bit more about them coming up. But first, let me tell you about our friends at Gypsy Vodka. And if you haven't tried this vodka, it's so smooth. At the Michigan State pregame, Fish was lovely enough to send us up 4 shots, and we did them live on the air. And, normally you take the shot, you get that little, face. Didn't make the face at all. It was delicious. It was cold. It was clean. And it's a Michigan-made product, so you got to support local. These 2 guys went to Birmingham Brother Rice, and now they started this. They have bars all over the state, up in Petoskey, and they have bottles all over the state. So make sure, if you're looking for a great vodka drink, you pick it up tonight. Gypsy Vodka, and if they don't have it where you shop, ask for it by name.
Okay, you thirsty little spin goblins. I want you to pedal into the next dimension. Spin it! Spin! Spin! Uh-oh! Carmen's falling behind. Let's give her the hiss of shame. Spin! Spin! Spin till you bleed!
Don't ride the bike of shame. Come to Planet Fitness and find your own lane with tons of equipment, free fitness training, and no hissing. Join today for just $10 a month.
Welcome back to Big D Energy. It's my name is Stick, and we got some tickets to give away. We want to qualify you to get into our turkey games right now. If you've seen Squid Games, you know the deal. We're going to make you compete, and you could be sitting front row Thanksgiving Day to watch the Detroit football team hopefully get their second win by then, maybe. All you got to do right now, if you're watching on YouTube, just comment the word turkey. That's all you got to do. Just comment the word turkey, and we will pull a random winner coming up at noon. So if you're watching right now, stop what you're doing, comment the word turkey, and we will get you qualified to sit front row with our turkey games on the Woodward Sports Network. It is Big D Energy. My name is Stick, filling in for Neil Rule, Darren McCarty, Joique Bell here, Fish, Sawyer, and of course Spencer over there, making sure we're all safe in the studio. So we went back and forth talking about the AP poll right before this, but obviously Michigan and Michigan State both playing this weekend. Let's take a look at the Big Ten standings as they are right now. So if we're looking at it, Wisconsin won. You got a bunch of number ones. Wisconsin, Minnesota, Purdue, Iowa, Illinois, Northwestern, Nebraska. And then you go over to the East Division, Ohio State, Michigan, all jumbled up there at the top. And then Michigan or Penn State coming in at 4. Then the rest of the teams are who they are. Looking at this, they got Michigan State ranked over Michigan, just like they did in the AP poll. But Big Ten standings.
Can I make one more point, because it's important, right? And I know this, right? So he said, yeah, my friend's a coach or whatever. He said the trainer fills out the poll or whatever. My point exactly, because the coaches, they know that it's irrelevant, right? So, I mean, it's the same thing. You give me a quiz that's irrelevant, and somebody else can fill it out for it. But that's what I'm saying. If the coaches knew that it mattered, right, and there was a precedence on this, there would happen. But I got a lot of I love this one. OSU's going to beat State. There's their loss. So Michigan controls their own destiny.
They got to play
Doesn't
OSU too.
Michigan, don't they have to, they both have the same chance to win and stuff like this?
Yeah, they play on the 27th. That's going to be, if Michigan wins out till then, that's going to be such a huge game in Ann Arbor.
Gun to your head. Michigan or Michigan State has a better chance to beat Ohio State.
Oof. Gun to my head. I hate this game. I got to stick with Michigan.
I go Michigan, because I don't think we can, because with the defense that, especially that intermediate pass that got exploited last week.
You go with Michigan over...
I say Michigan has a better chance to beat Ohio State than Michigan State does.
It's very close.
That is close. I'll go Michigan too.
Okay.
I go Michigan for the straight fact, right?
If K. McNamara can make the same passes he made early on in those games against MSU, if he can make those same passes, those same decisions at the end of the game, then I'll give it to Michigan, because up until that game, we didn't really know if K. McNamara could get the ball down the field and make the proper throws, and he really surprised a lot of people. So
yeah, no, if he brings that arm to the Ohio State game, much better chance.
Well, I think he saved it last week, so there you go.
It's the arm, so it's the arm. So it's literally the arm is important, but it's also the decision making on when to take the chances, when to take the first down, when to take what the defense gives you. Because sometimes you have to take shots, and I feel like that game he took a couple shots, which helped him out in the end.
Well, Michigan's playing Penn State this weekend, and they got to get by Penn State before they even start thinking about Ohio State. And anytime you go on the road to play the Nittany Lions, it is a battle. They're going to do the whiteout again, which is one of the greatest scenes in all of college football. Michigan's favored by a point. How do you think Michigan's going to fare this week?
It's going to be a good game for them. When I talk to players who played at Penn State, I will ask them, what's the loudest stadium you've ever played in? And I will always hear something about, like, Wisconsin's a loud stadium. But, I'll hear another guy come on, well, it is loud, but it's not louder than Penn State. And the guy said, oh, yeah, Penn State is a loud stadium. So there's going to be a lot of practices inside of the practice facility, probably with the doors open, with the speakers blasting, getting them ready for that loud noise. And it's going to be really dependent on how they can handle the crowd noise, because this is going to be a big game for them. This is going to be huge. After the loss to MSU, they can't afford to lose this game, especially going into the game against Ohio State at the end of the year. They have to win this game. Who do they have after this game?
Maryland.
They have Maryland after this game?
Yeah, it goes Penn State, Maryland, Ohio State.
And then MSU has Rutgers after Penn State.
Yeah, I believe so.
All right, and so I think Maryland is actually, are they right behind Michigan on the ranked board? But I don't think they have a shot against.
So Michigan State has Maryland this weekend, then Ohio State, then Penn State.
Right. Okay.
Yeah, it's a tough game. Tough game, because here's the thing about the preparation and all that stuff going into it, and also it's a noon game.
Yeah.
Noon games are tough. You're going into an environment like that. You got to be ready before warm up. right? You got to get yourself whatever it is, because the biggest thing are the no snap penalties. How are you going to deal with the noise? You're going to go silent count. Is everybody on the same page? And if we see that early, that bodes well. I expect Michigan to go in there and win, but we're going to learn a lot about if this team can go in on the road into one of the most ruckus places, as Joique just said, in Happy Valley, and pull out a win. Because if they do that, then they've tested themselves before the Ohio State game. You know what I'm saying? So we'll learn a lot this week.
I mean, that's the thing I love about college football is every week is essentially a championship game. Because if they lose this week, their shot at the championship's done. But if they win this week and lose next week, their shot at the championship's done. And I love the way the system is set up, because it makes every game that much more important.
Obviously, they're going to have to stop some of the key players. Like, they're going to have to stop Clifford. I mean, he passed well last game. And then they got at the receiver spot, they're going to have to stop Dotson. And who's going to stop him? Who's going to stop that guy? 11,
whole damn team.
11 receptions last week with 242 receiving yards in the game. Come on. Who's going to stop this guy? And so we're going to have to contain him. The run game, I think we'll do a pretty decent job on, in holding the lead to under 100 yards. I think we'll do a good job with that. Our defense is still playing at a high level. And the things we're going to have to do is contain them on the defensive side of the ball, because right now, like, they got some weapons over there. They really have some weapons. And so this is going to be a tough game for us. It really is.
Yeah, well, then you flip on over. Michigan State's got Maryland. They're favored by 13 points. Michigan State, I think last week they had a little hangover from celebrating too hard about beating Michigan and got upset by Purdue. But they got to come back this week and actually just hammer this team. They got to win by like 30 this week.
Last week was supposed to be a style point game. That's supposed to be a stat game. Purdue had their number. They couldn't do anything. And then defensively, they just couldn't stop them. And I love the way Purdue opened up the playbook. Had a couple trick plays in there. Caught them not being honest. And they got the ball around to a lot of guys. And so I did not see that happening. No one saw that happening on Saturday. Not only did they beat them, but it was convincing.
They manhandled them. And I think that the best part is the accountability that Coach Tucker, they go back to work. So we're going to see, where you're talking about culture. Culture ain't just when it's going good, is what happens when it's going bad. Right. So you would look to them to come out and to your point, Stick, to put one on Maryland.
Yeah, what do you think, this is kind of going back to the Michigan State thing, what do you think about Tucker's comments about, I don't comment on officials,
I don't comment on bad calls.
Yeah,
I thought that was the greatest backhanded compliment. When he first said it, I went, nice job, Tuck, because what he said, I don't comment on bad calls and stuff like
this. A week after Harbaugh commented on bad calls.
No. The thing is he did it the same way, but Jim takes the bait and wants to complain. And because I think Harbaugh's mindset is to get it out there, because that's always the way it's been, and they know that's going on. But Tucker could have just said calls. He didn't. It was a freaking great. I don't comment on bad calls, right? I don't comment on bad penalty calls.
How is it a rep fault that you have a receiver go for 11 catches for 217 yards? That's not a rep fault.
Right, or Kenneth Walker scored 5 touchdowns on you. They're going back to Harbaugh using the refs. If any dude scores 5 touchdowns on your program, that's not on the ref.
Yeah, no.
One could be, but then he still scored 4.
I just watched NFL teams, right?
Hey, Kenneth Walker had a good game.
Get screwed week in, week out. Don't know how many times you go to a review now, and it's like the guy on the review says, oh, no, that's not a catch or whatever, and they come back after further review, that's a catch. So they don't even know what's going on. And in the NFL, obviously you get paid, you're professional, but you got to go back, and you can't. The adversity is part of the culture, and if you're going to make excuses or you're going to go back to work, and doesn't matter who you are, you can all agree that both teams have been on the bad end of calls.
It's part of the game.
At the end of the day, you can't you have to play through the refs, in spite of the refs.
Yeah, and so you look at, if you talked to us last week and said, how does Purdue beat MSU? How? Score points, right? Make Thorne beat you in the air, right? Make his arm beat you, and contain Kenneth Walker. Contain Walker.
Right.
And the thing is, Kenneth Walker had 23 carries, 146 yards, averaging 6.3 yards a carry. He had 1 touchdown. That's those type of numbers for a player of this caliber. I would consider that they contained them. With numbers like that, 140. Hear me out. 146 yards, averaging 6.3 yards a carry, and 1 touchdown is containing Kenneth Walker, and that's what they were able to do. And they made Thorne beat him in the air, and he couldn't do it. And they came back and they put up points. That's how they were able to win, right? And it wasn't just straight pound mouth football. It was straight, we'll do that a little bit. We'll get the ball in the air. We'll do a couple of trick plays here and there, and it worked for them. And it worked, and MSU was not prepared.
Yeah, Michigan State just couldn't get back in front. They tied the game a couple times, but they just couldn't get that one momentum play to push them over the top.
So did they have better athletes, or do you feel they were outcoached?
Ooh, that's tough. I mean,
I'm asking.
No.
It's coaching. That's coaching. I mean, if we're going to give Mel Tucker his flowers for beating Michigan, we got to take him away for losing to Purdue.
Yeah.
That's coaching. Is even if you're going to use the excuse that the players were still celebrating last week's win, that's on the coach to get them ready.
24-hour rule. Win or lose.
Yeah.
Win or lose.
And Tucker said that, too, about the 24-hour. He referenced that. But
he
honestly,
I didn't hear that.
He referenced that in his press conference post-game. But, yeah, if you look at it, listen, I'm in the middle of Michigan State. I went to University of Detroit. We don't even have a football team there. So, watching these two banter on Twitter for the past couple weeks, going back and forth and watching arrogant Michigan fans and then State win and then turn into arrogant Michigan fans and then catch the comeuppance the next week. It's been theater to watch.
Let me ask you a question. I don't want to keep going back, but was you marked not this past Saturday, but, about a week and a half ago, say 9 days ago, do you think that was the biggest MSU-Michigan game in history of both the schools?
Yeah, and I've heard that from multiple players that played for both universities on both sides. Braylon said it, and then Strayhorn, who does our Inside the Locker Room, said it as well. Because they hadn't met undefeated and ranked in the top 10 since, the 60s. So we're talking 60 years gap there. And, yeah, that was the biggest game in their history.
Thought so. Yeah.
I thought so.
Yeah.
What about you?
No, I said the same thing. I talked with Braylon about it, and I didn't realize this is the first time that they were both in the top 10, both undefeated, and haven't seen each other in 60-plus years. And so I didn't know that. And so for me, I'm like, yeah, this is definitely up there. Where you have two teams both with the opportunity to, they're both are driving the ship to who's going to make it to the playoffs.
Right. Yeah, well, I'm looking
at the
forward
end of
to
the
both
day,
games.
it's exciting times.
It is. It's great.
Think about it. That's like when we were growing up, Stick. Mm-hmm. We didn't have Twitter, but the conversations all the time when you had a good Michigan State and a good Michigan team, or they were battling back and forth. So, you hope for the best success. But at the end of the day, both teams control their destiny, which this late in the season, I think, what else do you want? Because I remember those conversations before. Michigan State fans would be happy if they went 500, and Michigan fans were happy if they had 9 or 10 wins. That's not the case now. You put yourself in this situation. Now go out, both teams, and grab it. Grab it by the horn. The bull by the horn.
Yeah, absolutely love it. And I love that both teams. It's such a good thing for the state. I mean, if you were up at East Lansing 2 weeks ago, it was a scene that I haven't experienced ever. To me, it rivaled when the Final Four was here in Detroit, when the Super Bowl was here. That's how packed the streets were. That's how much energy was up there. And it was just a great time for the entire state. And it resulted in a great game as well.
That's the whole thing. The payoff was, I mentioned it before, March 26, 97, the Lemieux game or whatever like this, is the payoff to that game with the hype going into it. That's the comparable to me. Is the payoff to the game, right, the way that it ended up, to the hype going into it. It paid it off, if not you got paid off everything, if not more. And I think it was more.
Yeah, no, it definitely set the tone for the remainder of the college football season, which I think we're all excited for.
No, we're all excited for it. But you know what I'm more excited about? Having my heat.
It's that time of year, Joique.
It is that time of year. What time of year is it? It's the cuddle season. So when you cuddle, you want to open up. It gets cold outside. You want to open up the window, but you also want to have that heat going. You want to have the fan on. You want to have some nice blankets. But in order to have that heat on, you got to go to Northwestern Tech. Start a new career in an industry that is always essential to the heating and cooling industry. To learn more today, go to northwesterntech.edu. I'm Joique Bill. That's Sticks. That's Darren McCarty. That's Fish. That's Sawyer, and this is Big D Energy. Stay tuned.
Hi, I'm David Hall from Hall Financial. One mortgage myth we hear all the time is having to choose between a 15 or a 30-year fixed term. At Hall Financial, we offer the modern mortgage to create a flexible term that fits your unique financial situation. Our team of mortgage experts are available 7 days a week to review your goals and customize a solution for you. Get started today with a free 5-minute mortgage review at 866-CALL-HALL or chat with us online at callhallfirst.com.
Happy Monday, Lions fans. This is Corey Woods, your Detroit Lions beat reporter at the Woodward Sports Network, checking in with your Roar on Woodward Report. Earlier today, Dan Campbell spoke with the media, and he confirmed that the Detroit Lions will not be in the market for Odell Beckham Jr. Guess he's right now, he's just not a fit. But Dan Campbell did confirm some other news. Taylor Decker and Tim Boyle will be returning to practice this Wednesday. Boyle was out with an injury for pretty much most of this season, and Decker as well, as he sustained a finger injury that has kept him out, and he has some setbacks with it. Great that both of those players will be returning to the Lions because, hey, they may need them, especially Decker. In other news, Dan Campbell also confirmed reports that the team is releasing tight end Darren Fells. He said it was a mutual decision, and here's what Dan Campbell had to say about it.
Darren, that was basically a mutual parting on both parties, if you will. So no ill will, it's all good. Brock moves up officially to the active. We'll start Tim Boyle's clock as of today, just to get him working in, and then I see Taylor, working into practice Wednesday, and we'll see where he's at.
You heard it from Dan Campbell. The Lions are coming out of this bye week 0-8, and they're going to be looking to get their first win of the season against the Pittsburgh Steelers, who are playing tonight. So all eyes will be tuned into that matchup. Ben Roethlisberger is reportedly having some shoulder issues, but you know who isn't having any issues? Najee Harris. I think that says enough right there, because after those first 3 games of the season, he was looking kind of meh. But since then, he's been taking off, averaging 89 yards per game and just under a touchdown per game as well. The Lions are going to have to deal with that this Sunday, so keep your eyes tuned on tonight's game. This is Corey Woods, your Detroit Lions beat reporter at the Woodward Sports Network, checking in with your Roar on Woodward Report. See you guys Wednesday.
Welcome back to Big D Energy, live on the Woodward Sports Network. That was Corey Woods doing his Roar on Woodward report. Obviously, that was from yesterday. He releases those videos Monday, Wednesday, and Friday. So all the information that you need to get up to date on your Detroit Lions. Make sure you're following Woodward Sports on social media. And Corey will post those videos so you can stay up to date and learn about Darren Fells and all that good stuff. Corey, how you doing, man?
Doing pretty good. Happy to be here.
Always happy to have you.
I'm so excited.
You had a bye week last week. For a beat reporter, what's a bye week like in the NFL?
Work.
I
was just racking my brain trying to figure out different topics to talk about, seeing what other writers talking about and trying to go in a different direction. So, I don't make the same, put out the same material. But I was just trying to just pull up stuff because, the team is winless. So you can only say the same thing so many different times in so many different ways.
Yeah. Hey, Corey Woods here, everybody. One of the hardest working man in show business right here. One of the hardest workers here at Woodward Sports. Real quick. Now, you have some news for us today.
Yeah.
Right? Would you want to drop it again? You want me to drop it?
You can drop it.
No, I want you to drop it.
About Darren Fells?
Yeah.
Well, as everybody knows, Darren Fells was released yesterday, went on the waiver wire. He asked for his release. Basically, he asked for release. They gave it to him. I think that they tried to trade him before then, which is why he was a healthy scratch against the Eagles. I thought that was kind of interesting, but he asked for his release, and he got it yesterday. So I'm curious to see where he's going to land up. I didn't see much of him really this season. It was barely out there.
So my question, do you think him requesting for this trade is because they're not playing him, or do you think it's some type of issue within the locker room, or you think it's just purely based on his skills on the field, and that's why they're releasing him?
I think for one, it was production. He was barely being utilized. When you saw tight ends out there, catching the ball, you mainly saw just T.J. Hockenson for one, and then for two, if you're on a losing team and you're not getting the ball and you're not even seeing the field, hey, get me out of here. That's just my opinion.
My question, Corey, to you, obviously, I'm not going to bring up, but I have to bring it up because they're still looking for your first win covering this team. But you've been
since 2018.
Oh, 18, my bad.
Yeah, my first time covering the team was the Monday Night Football game against the Jets, Matt Patricia's first game. I was a photographer.
So now that you've ascended and then you are the beat reporter and stuff like this, you're there all the time. Yep. What is it that we aren't seeing? Like, give me some positivity, either player-wise that you've seen in practice. You know, you mentioned, Dan Campbell mentioned Tom Kennedy, the clock would start at. Now, a lot of us remember him. Hey, I know that name. He was catching passes in preseason and stuff like this. Is this a guy that you watch in practice that you see can make that step up? Is there anybody that we haven't seen, or maybe we haven't seen enough of, in your opinion, from what you've seen being there all the time?
Well, one person who I talked about during the preseason and during training camp was Jermar Jefferson. I felt that he was not being utilized enough. Now, granted, if you go back and look at his college film, he wasn't that type of guy catching passes out the backfield and whatnot. But I said from what I saw in practice, I could see him in like a Theo Riddick type of role. And he was not activated for a very long time. Something that Deuce Staley talked about, because he said Jefferson came to him and, you know, made his issues well known about not being activated. And what happens? Jefferson gets in the game. He does a little something, but I guess he also made got a touchdown. He also apparently made a mistake out there. I didn't catch it, but apparently made a mistake out there that Staley got at him for. But I felt that he was a guy that they should have been utilizing a lot more, because if Jared Goff is going to be doing this, you know, the dinking and dunking and the short yardage passes, I saw the report that you now see him gaining with Khalif Raymond and Amon-Ra St. Brown. I saw that in practice in the training camp, and it was just kind of odd to me that he was not utilized. So that's one guy that I would like to see utilized a lot more if they're going to continue this short yardage passing and whatnot.
Yeah, I mean, I love Jermar Jefferson coming out of college. To me, he was one of the best zone run scheme guys coming out, because he's great at reading the line, and he's great at planting that foot and getting directly upfield when he has to, and that's exactly what he did on his touchdown run, too. That was kind of like a zone blocking scheme, and he was able to find his way in. The problem is, running back's our best position right now, essentially. You have Swift, you have Williams, so it's hard for him to get any run right now.
Yeah. It's similar. You said like in a theoretic kind of ordeal. And you have, I would take it back to like when me and Reggie played. And like Theo saw the field a little bit, and as he continued to get better and better, he started to see the field a little bit more. The thing is this: Jefferson has to be patient. He's a rookie. Yeah. Like, you're a rookie, you have to pay your dues.
Right, but you like that he's demanding playing time though, without being a detriment.
Yeah. I think the thing is this: it depends how he went to Deuce Staley about it. Yeah. Listen, coach, I just want to know why I'm not playing. What do I need to do to get better? And the thing is this: when Deuce Staley gets on him about a simple mistake, it could have been a blocking assignment. Mm-hmm. It could have been a chip trying to get out. You don't know what it might have been. You have to know the position to be able to identify what Deuce Staley was dealing him about. And it could have been something that they went over in practice. Yeah. It could have been a screen. It could have been a screen pass, and a blitz came. And instead of you running through the blitz to get open, you went into the line, because that's what you usually do when there's no blitz. But when you see the blitz come, you got to run into the blitz like you're about to block it and shut off. And I remember as a rookie, I made that mistake in preseason. And Coach Curtis Mockin chewed me out about it, and it never happened again. And the thing is, in the NFL, you can make a mistake, right? You can make a mistake. You can't make it twice.
Yeah.
Okay. And that's in a lot of. You can't make the same mistake twice. That's in
life.
So here's it to your point, to what Corey said. The fact that he went and he got activated, he did it the right way. Right, because
that's not why he got activated.
I understand that, Joique. But the problem with what Corey said, right? When a rookie player does that, it can only go one way, badly, if he doesn't do it the right way. He obviously did it the right way. But the fact that what Deuce Staley's going to get on, it could be something that they talked about. That's something to as small as if I turn the right way, right? But if I don't present myself and open up for the pass from Lidstrom, right, if I turn my back, I'm going to get in trouble. Some little subtle thing that Deuce Staley probably told him a million times, or something that he had to switch the way that he did things so that it'll end up like that. But what I'm saying is that it doesn't ever happen to the fact that a guy will get activated or whatever else by not doing it the right way, especially a rookie.
Yeah,
he would have got buried if he went in there demanding stuff.
No, he's not. He's just, we drafted him, which he was the 7th round draft pick. But usually when you get drafted anywhere past the 5th round, you just don't want to get drafted, so you can choose what team you can go to, right? But he came here. It was he's in a good situation. He's with. He's on a team to where. In the past, you have running backs that have been known to be somewhat injury prone. Yeah. And so at some point in time, you're going to get called up. Just wait your time. It's going to happen. Be patient. But when you're on a team that's not winning, right? You're on a team that's not winning. We're 0-8. And I'm sitting on the bench. Now I got to go home to my girlfriend or my parents, and they're like, "Why aren't you playing? They're losing." That's
kind of what I was getting at. Like, okay, look, they're winless. Why not start turning over every stone and seeing, okay?
Because right now, like you said, the run game is our best position, and give and take, the O-line might be our best
unit.
It might be our best unit, right? But when you have two of your best O-linemen down, and then your other O-lineman playing through I don't want to call it an injury, but playing hurt. It's tough to get that run game going.
So what would your advice be to Jamar Jefferson in this situation that he's in right now?
I think he's doing everything the right way. Just go out there when you get the opportunity. You don't have to, they see you in practice. They know what you can do, right? They know what you can do. Just wait your time. The injury rate in the NFL is 99.99999.
Especially at the running back position.
In the running back position, it's 100%, 100% chance that somebody's going to be injured. So when you get hurt, or a running back gets hurt, just know that you're going to be the first person they bring up.
And don't fumble. When you get that opportunity, don't fumble.
Right, because that's the thing that can happen. Say he goes out there to the coach and I want to put me in right now and I'm ready. I don't know how the conversation went. So I don't know, right?
I will say, not to cut you off, but I will say that from the way that Deuce Staley talked about the conversation, Deuce Staley, if it came off as if he was okay with how Jefferson came to him. It was more of a
the thing is this, though. Now you get called up, right? Now you get called up, and you go out there, and he did well. But say something else happened, and they get down there, and they fumble, and you ask me to put you in here, and you go out there and do that. The thing is, the best thing to do in this type of situation, just sit back, evaluate, continue to learn the game. When you get in, never look back.
Yeah.
Never look back.
I love it.
Does my question to you, Joique, does the fact that a lot of these fringe guys, whether you're wide receiver, tight end, running back, or defensive back, special teams, if you're a special teams guy, that helps you get right?
That's the thing, right? Play special teams, make an impact there, and eventually, if you're doing well there, they're going to keep you on the team, and as long as you can stay on the team, you're going to get a shot eventually. I didn't get my first NFL carry, guys, until my 3rd year in the NFL.
How was that
third year, right? And you got to think, I led the NFL in preseason and rushing. When I was on the Saints, I tore my PCL on the very first preseason game, projected to be out 6 to 8 weeks. Sat out 1 week, came back, and led the whole team in rushing and receiving.
Gorilla!
And led the whole Saints team in preseason and rushing and receiving, and came back, made the team. With 4 other running backs, 5 running backs on the roster, and they didn't even think I was going to make the team. I had to rehab my lead. They cut me, and I had to wait until the last game of the season to get a call from the Lions. And I came here, and I was on practice squad. No, actually, I was on the roster. Then the following year is when I started. I had my first training camp with the Lions, and then from there, the first game I got 1 carry. The next game I got a couple more. And I have to gradually work my way up.
Next thing you know, we're all doing this. Almost every game.
You see it, right? Point to it up there. Now point to it back. Point to it. You see it on there. You see it on there.
You're talking to the people.
Yeah, but that's being patient and just waiting. I didn't have to say, put me in. I just went out there, performed, and the more you do with those chances, you'll get more chances and more chances, and then all of a sudden.
So, Corey, how have the tone of the press conferences been compared to the beginning of the season when it was biting kneecaps? We all got the energy. This is going to be the best year ever. We're growing something here. We got things. Our mojo's working. Now we're 0-8.
Please sleep on us. Please.
No,
that's what they said. Sleep on us.
I remember Jamal Williams did say that. I would say the tone of the press conferences right now has been kind of just. I don't know the right word to describe it. Honestly, it's been kind of just like meh. I don't know if that's the way to describe it. Is because right now they're winless. I mean, I don't know they're winless. So it's like and the thing is, you don't know when that first win is going to come. Some of the questions are starting to sound kind of same. How would it mean? What would it mean to get the first win?
That's why that Tucker field goal was so big.
What's keeping you motivated? Who are you getting advice from? It's been pretty much the same question. So I would say, you know what? The tone of the press conferences has been Groundhog Day.
There we go.
There you go.
It is crazy when you look up the Lions' schedule and it's just L all the way down. And it's like,
holy hell, we're 9 weeks in and we haven't won a game. You know what I blame that on? Man, I blame it on the hats that they came out with the big L on.
The L hats. The hats that Fish wanted.
Fish wanted that.
You still want that hat, Fish?
It was a jinx.
God, yeah, I still want that hat. If they still have it. Again, I don't wear hats, so I'd prefer like a shirt. But if they had a shirt with the L on it, oh God, I'd wear it in 2 seconds.
We'd have
regardless, boys. Regardless, we know
that's the type of mentality that keeps us in the state that we're in as a team right now. That please do not listen to Fish. Do not wear a hat with the L on it because
it's for Lions. What else is it for?
A loss.
Loss.
Okay. Well, they're the Detroit Lions. I'm sorry, the name has an L in it.
Regardless, football season's here. It's time to make your grooming experience easy like Sunday morning. Get the Lady Jane's haircuts for men. Walk in, relax, watch your favorite team play, and before you know it, your hair will be game ready. Yeah, they got TVs and everything right there. You get your hair cut. You could see beautiful Alyssa there doing her thing, the girls, so you too can walk into any Lady Jane's. They're open 10 to 8, 7 days a week. Walk in. It's wicked awesome. We're Big D Energy. We'll be right back.
I'm looking to bring on another HVAC tech right now.
We are recruiting 5 to 10 techs a month.
We're looking to grow and expand. Every new tech we hire is from Northwestern Tech.
The hands-on training is fantastic.
They're always my first call.
We love hiring Northwestern Tech grads.
They come out trained and ready to work.
Our program is only 10 and a half months, and our next classes are starting soon. So why wait?
I'm looking to hire a graduate of Northwestern Tech. Northwestern Tech.
Northwestern Tech.
Northwestern Tech.
Welcome back. It is Big D Energy on the Woodward Sports Network, and we got to give a shout out to our winner from Squid Games. I got to scroll back to find a turkey. Actually, Fish, why don't you pull a winner from somebody who commented turkey? Or here we go, Adam First. That's the first name I saw. His name is Adam First. Congratulations to Adam. You are now qualified to get into our turkey games where you could be sitting front row at the Detroit Thanksgiving Day game. We were just talking about the Lions with Lions beat reporter Corey Woods here with Woodward Sports. But we also want to talk some more football stuff. And so there's kind of a thing everybody knows about the Madden curse. If you make the cover of Madden, you're not going to have the best year. And it's happened pretty much with everybody that's been on the cover except for, I think, Tom Brady. It happened to Calvin Johnson. It happened. It's now happening to Patrick Mahomes.
Even more proof Tom Brady's not from this planet.
Yeah, Tom Brady's impenetrable to the Madden curse. But now there's a new thing. It's called the Manning cast curse. Did you guys hear about this?
No, fill us in.
So any guest that comes on the Manning cast, the next game that they play, they do awful in. And Josh Allen was the guest 2 weeks ago, and then obviously you saw what happened to the Bills this week against the Jacksonville Jaguars. They lost 9-6, and Josh Allen did not look great. Travis Kelce's been on there, Russell Wilson, Gronk, Stafford, and of course the aforementioned Tom Brady. So do you guys believe in curses like this, like the Madden curse, the Manning cast curse? And another question I got, especially for Joique and Darren, because you guys played professionally, did you have any superstitions to prevent these types of curses?
First off, who was on this week?
It was Josh Allen on this week, and then he totally crapped the bed.
But who was?
Oh, who was on last night?
Yesterday?
Last night, I didn't watch the Manning cast.
Can we find out who? They didn't have one?
Oh, okay, there we go.
They didn't have one?
Not last night. Yeah, no Manning cast last night. They need to bring back the Nickelodeon cast.
Wow, so this is a real thing. Then that's it. Absolutely, Illuminati stuff or whatever. This is real. They pulled it off because, did you see? So you put that up again. Look at the money lines. Like, this will give you the betting and everything like that. But, I mean, is there something to it? Is there something to it? I don't know. But if I'm a trend better, Look at the money ride, the bankroll. That's unbelievable. So, to your point, I don't know. Do you believe in it? Do you not believe in it? You know, the whole thing was, like you said, the Madden curve, stuff like this. But I think superstitions, or whatever we like to call them, routines, stick. And mine, the biggest one that I had was always last on, last off.
Okay.
It was always like drapes and mulch, the goalies, but it was always I had to have my guys. You know, it's like herding cattle. Right, so it didn't even matter, and even when I came back in 08 and been away for a few years, because it was always the last three was Lidstrom, Chelly, and then me. And when I came back, it was always known. So last stop and throw the pucks out and warm up. That was always 10 each side and 5 at the bench.
I love that.
That was it.
When did that start, though, for you?
Oh, that started my first game.
Okay.
Because I always remember, I tell everybody, what's the puck thing? Remember what you're like when you're 12 years old and you went to a baseball game or a hockey game. All you wanted was a puck or a ball or whatever like that. So
I still want a foul ball. I never caught one.
And here's the thing. It's pretty cool now, because even like 30, 20 years later, people will bring a puck. Hey, you gave it to me when I was like 6 years old.
That's
it's like,
amazing.
sign it up. It's
Joique,
really cool.
What about you? Did you have any superstitions or weird things before the game, or something you tried to do to prevent bad things from happening?
So, day of game or during the week?
Either way.
All right, so one thing I would do that I started in my first game in college is I prayed with my mom before every game from the time I was my freshman year in college until my last game I played in the NFL. My mom called and prayed every game for me before the game. So that was like a must. So she couldn't catch me, so leave it on my voicemail. So I always made sure my voicemail was clear too as well. So it was I had to hear that every Sunday, Monday night, Thursday. I had to hear it. And then one thing I would do once I got in NFL, like every Tuesday would be leg day for me. And every time I would lift heavy on my legs, like I would have to go heavy on my legs. I always had a good game Sunday. And so I made sure I always lifted heavy on Sundays, 5, 6 plates on each side, and I'm going heavy on squat, going heavy on leg press. Well, I didn't really do leg press too much, but squat, dumbbells, front squat, everything I went heavy on. And so that was like my big thing on Tuesdays.
I love that, and I love athlete stories with these types of things because, I think everybody has them through every walk of life, too. Like, before you leave your house, you do your phone, keys, wallet check, you do all that. Everybody has their own little routine. In the softball league I play for, I never step on the foul line. I always hop over it. I hop over it.
Sparky Anderson.
Yeah, I think that's where I picked it up, man.
I'm sure it was.
Because through Little League, I've always done that. If you step on the foul line, it's a curse almost, and you don't leave bats crossed and stuff like that. There's just weird nuances to every sport.
I mentioned this one, play it. Like, the thing that you miss and you notice most about LCA or whatever is when you walk in the parking lot, and depending on if you won the last game or whatever, you go right or you go left to get to the locker room, but you knew where everybody was, and you had to fist dab, especially during the playoffs when you're winning and stuff. It'd take you 10 minutes to get to the dressing room because you had to check in with everybody, but that was all part of it, and that's the community. How about you, Corey? Do you have because whatever you're doing, change it. Whatever you're doing, change it up. It's not working.
What are you doing? What are you doing?
For the games, I mean, I'm going to have to figure out something a little bit different. Maybe that'll bring the Lions some juju, but I was laughing because you were talking about pregame rituals and superstitions, and I was thinking about the run with the Pistons when they had Larry Brown as the coach. Bull crap you not. Oh crap, my mom's going to kill me if she sees this. Before every game, I'm in college, not in college, I'm in college. Before every Pistons game, anytime I fooled around, I'm just going to use the safe word, anytime I fooled around before a Pistons playoff game, they lost. Bull crap you not.
So when they went on the run for the championship, you were celibate?
After that first one,
from all of us, baby. Thank you.
After that first one, yes, but when the play I don't like talking about the next year with Big Shot Bob, yeah, I messed up. And
so that was on you?
That was on me.
Wow, we finally got to it, guys. Ladies and gentlemen, don't worry about the Lions, Corey. Keep with that losing streak. The fact that Big Shot Bob and
It's
you
my
were
fault.
in cahoots.
It was
In
me.
cahoots, and you knew it too.
I knew it.
You knew what you were
Tell me,
doing.
hey,
No, I knew what I was doing after the game.
Talk about that feeling and that conversation between you and you after that shot went in.
I just have one
I
question.
cried.
Was she worth it? Oh, okay. All right.
See, you can't, dude.
Let's
Now
say,
you're
hold up.
getting into
My question
like,
is, are you guys still
You
together?
know what? Forget that, Corey. You know, she missed a man. She left his man. That wasn't on you, bro. That wasn't on you. We'll still blame Sheed.
But you get people like Oscar De La Hoya before a boxing match. He wouldn't have sex while he was training. That was part of his thing. And he was married to Shanna Mokler, which I don't know if you know who Shanna Mokler is, but an absolute smoke show. I don't know how he did it, but that was he said it made his legs weak when he was boxing. I was like, man,
okay.
he must be doing something that I'm not, because I'm usually pretty standard afterwards. I'm good to go.
You good to go.
Little nap, and I'm right back at it. So yeah, we just wanted to know about the little superstitions before the game. Fish, you seem like a superstitious guy. Do you have any weird things that you do before you watch your cricket matches?
I mean, not really. I just sit down and watch.
No.
I don't know why you think
He sits
I'm-
on the couch. He sits on the couch.
Well,
not,
yeah,
never in the bed.
Yeah, I sit on the couch and I just watch. I see if there's other stuff and I just click and watch. That's all I do.
Awesome.
I mean, it's boring because
What about?
that's
Sorry,
what I do.
you got any crazy rituals or like from your playing days or?
I mean, kind of going along with Joique before every high school football game, when we would stand on the goal line for the national anthem, I'd always say a prayer.
Yep.
Like right before we started, never touch the chalk before a baseball game. That was a real thing. It was either low pants, or if you're wearing high socks, it has to be stirrups. No other high socks. I would always play bad if I wasn't wearing stirrups. For
I
high
always
socks.
stare at the 25th star on the flag during the anthem. So if they go 6'5", 6'5", it's always right in the middle or whatever. That's another one too.
It's so weird. And there's the superstitions that you used to have that have kind of washed their way out. Like, Sawyer was mentioning, I had a weird one. I'd wear one sock right and one sock inside out. Like that was a weird superstition for a while. What do you have any superstitions that you used to do that like just kind of got washed away in the end? Like, all right, we had 8 bad games with me doing that. That's no longer working.
Oh, you'd flip quick, and there were certain stability things like, and a lot of it's just routine, and it's all time, right? When you go get like the one thing is like a conveyor belt as far as who's on the table, who's got this time, who's got that. And if you looked at it from the 30,000 feet, you see it's the well-oiled machine on time and how you have to get yourself ready. So I think it's just the transition for us athletes from routine into not routine is the hard part.
Okay.
So I don't know. I don't need to wear any, stinky shirts or whatever. You have the,
There's always that
whatever
one
else.
guy.
Yeah,
His good
don't
luck
wash your
shirt.
socks or whatever like this.
And look at Ryan Romani is running across Woodward right now. What a champion. Love that guy. And if you want to hang out before the Lions game this Sunday, we are doing a big pregame party going on at O'Toole's in Royal Oak. So come on out. Joique is going to be there. Ryan Romani, who's running across Woodward. Maz, Jade from Riff, Kennedy, and more. It's going down at O'Toole's in Royal Oak, 11 to 1 o'clock. That's when we do the pregame show. So come on out, have some cocktails, and enjoy the game. And then, if you're feeling frisky, we do the 2-minute warning. Me and my man Sawyer, who's in the booth right now. 2-minute warning live from the Brass Rail downtown. We go live literally at the 2-minute warning of every Lions game. And, sometimes it's good, sometimes it's bad, but you will get a natural, real reaction out of me and my boy Anson. So make sure you're down there. Brass Rail for every Lions game with the Woodward Sports Network.
Hi, I'm David Hall from Hall Financial. Did you know mortgage rates are still at generational lows? If you haven't refinanced your home loan yet, there's still time. Now is your second chance to refinance. You could lower your monthly payment, eliminate credit card debt, or even take cash out by using your home's equity. Call Hall Financial now to get started with your free 5-minute mortgage review. 866-CALL-HALL or chat with us online at callhallfirst.com.
Make sure you download the Woodward Sports app in the App Store and the Google Play Store today. Take Woodward Sports with you wherever you go and listen live on your phone or mobile device.
Welcome back to Big D Energy right here on the Woodward Sports Network and The Roar. My name is Stick. We have Joique Bell in here. We have Darren McCarty, Corey Woods, our Detroit Lions beat reporter, Fish and Sawyer. We got to talk about the Raiders. I know it's not super Detroit focused, but they are having a hell of a season, and they're having a hell of a season, which I don't know how they're pulling this off because we can't even get a win, and everybody's kind of on the same page here in Detroit. They are all over the map in Vegas, and they are still pulling out victory after victory. The latest to fall for the Raiders is their former second 2020 number one pick. They had 2 number one picks in 2020. Ruggs, as you know, he left last week after his unfortunate incident where he drove drunk 156 miles an hour and killed a 23-year-old woman. And then this week they let go of Damon Arnett. That it was their second first-round draft pick. So in less than a week, the Raiders have now released both of their 2020 first-round picks, Damon Arnett and Henry Ruggs, due to off-the-field issues. And if you want to dig a little bit deeper into this, if you look at their third-round pick, Lynn Bowden, they sent out during training camp last year and shipped him to Miami. Brian Edwards, still on the team. He didn't have a catch last game, but he's still on the team. Tanner Muse still on the team. Coach's scratch, I believe, last week. John Simpson is the only one who's actually gotten some run on a 2020 draft. But my goodness, like we go back and forth on the Lions missing on draft picks, but they took Ruggs over Jerry Jeudy. They took him over Justin Jefferson. They reached to take him as the number one wide receiver in the draft. And then you get to Arnett, and from everything that I've read is they knew he had issues coming into the draft. They vetted it out with Ohio State coaches. They said they trust the Ohio State coaches that they were able to get this under control. Clearly, they could not get it under control because the dude was on video with a gun threatening people's lives, and that is how you get let go from $1 million industry. Yeah. We talk about the Lions missing on draft picks, but how bad is it to miss this badly on your entire 2020 draft? Corey, Joique, what you guys want to say?
You know what, man? It's good that they gave up Khalil Mack for all these draft picks. You know what I'm saying? They said that earlier. It's crazy to give up your best player and go out there and miss this poorly, like this bad. And then on a team that, honestly, they could have had an opportunity to make the playoffs if they would have just got the right picks. And they had guys and they're losing guys that are a part of that core of that team. And so you have, and the thing is this, right? The thing is this. It's not even about the team. Let's take it away from the team, right? Let's take it to the players, right? Understand, like, this NFL life that you guys are living right now is only a short stint, right? It's only a short stint. Short. Don't get in these positions to where you can go and you can be put in a position to change the trajectory of your family's life, and you're getting in the way of your own success. You're standing in your own way. All right, it's no one's fault but yours. All right, no one told you to upload that video. No one told you to drink and drive. These are decisions that you're making because you feel like you're on top of the world. And at this time, it's not something that we're trying to bash you about. It's just something that you learn from, right? You learn from it. It's going to cost you. And I'm not going to sit here because no one's perfect, all right? No one's perfect. But understand, like, when young kids look up to us, understand the decision we make can affect a lot of people around you, because it's not just going to affect you. It's going to affect the people that you're taking care of. It's going to affect the people that are a part of your actions. It's going to affect a lot of people. So I think if people can really sit back and think about the people that will be affected by your decisions, I think we can make better decisions. But a lot of time you have young players who, like I said, just got drafted last year. They've been 1 year in the league, and when you're we have people part of this network that are close friends with people on that team, right? And so it's good to have some good positive people in your life that can help steer you in the right direction. And so I'm not going to bash these guys. Just learn from your mistakes. It costs you your job, but once again, you're not just an NFL player, you are a human being. And don't let football don't let football be your only way of making an impact on this world.
I got a question from you, because online on these social media sites, you see fans put out theories and whatnot. I want to ask you, because you're a former player and you can hear it from the horse's mouth. So, like a situation with like Henry Ruggs, where he was, I guess it's not working. Situation like Henry Ruggs, where he is, he's drunk driving. He's intoxicated. He's going out and he's partying, or something with like Arnett, where he's obviously, I don't want to sit up here and say he's dealing with something mentally, but something went wrong for him to go on the net and post that video. What resources are really available to you as players to either guide you from getting into these situations, or when you're dealing with something like, okay, you have the resources afforded to you for mental health, or like, hey, I'm intoxicated, I don't necessarily want to hop in an Uber, I want a car service.
So I'll give you a perfect example. So I had a close friend, like a little brother to me, Mike Weber. He got drafted to the Cowboys. And the one thing that I noticed about that team is how they go the extra mile. What they did, they teamed up with Uber, right? And they had a specific account that the players can use all season long. So they didn't have to drive. They could catch an Uber to practice, the Uber back home from practice. They never had to drive. They can catch the Uber out. And the team took care of it. Now, they're going the extra mile. Are these other teams going the extra mile? And do they have to go the extra mile? Because at the end of the day, we're grown men. And this is a perfect example, right? This is a perfect example why the NFL is the only team that when we go to away games, that we have security on every floor, because and we have a curfew and we have to be in our rooms by a certain time, because situations like this, because you have guys coming on the team and they don't make the proper decisions. Right, and that can play a major part. And so what teams have things like this, and for rookies, when you come in, they have a thing that you would have to stay after, you would have to stay after practice 1 day a week and go through a 2-hour course where they'll bring in people, right? And if you do 2 hours, you only have to stay for 8 weeks. If you did an hour once a week, you have to stay the whole year. And so guys will be like, just do the 2 hours and get it done in 8 weeks. And they'll bring in people to kind of talk about finances and banking and different things like that, different resources, or if you get in trouble, call this number. So they would have things like that. But, when you're finishing up a 10, 12-hour day and you have to stay for 2 more hours after practice on a certain day, some days you just like, I'm not really listening.
Do you think being in Vegas has...
It's 24 hours. Yes, it has a huge difference.
Do you think it's a big difference, playing in like Indy?
It's definitely. I played in Indy. Indy is slow. I just love Vegas. Vegas is 24/7. It never sleeps. The city that never sleeps.
Yeah.
And so there's always trouble. There's always something to do. And when there's always something to do, there's always trouble.
Well, and these are young millionaires. So let's be honest. I was broke as hell when I was 21, and I still did dumb stuff all the time. I couldn't imagine having unlimited funds, being an NFL player, and in Vegas. I'd be dead.
And young, right? They haven't been around the league long enough to understand, wow, I need to reserve my money. I need to preserve my money. I need to make sure I'm making the right decisions. I need to make sure I'm making the right investments. Listen, I had issues with that my first 2 years, and I was here in Detroit, I was in Indy, I was in Buffalo, and none of these cities are known as a city that never sleeps.
Oh, Buffalo turns up, baby. What are you talking about?
Man, man, relax. And so
they jump through tables, Joique.
Even New Orleans and Philly, are on the same level as Las Vegas when it comes to like that after hour lifestyle. Like it's not. And so it's tough, man. It's tough. And yes, the teams can take responsibility, but this is a league of men, right? And I understand we have young guys like that coming in. They don't know what they don't know. You're giving a young kid that's never seen this type of money, who's never seen this type of lifestyle. Like, they might have had the attention, but they ain't have the money and the lifestyle.
It comes down to culture, and it comes down to your dressing room and your veterans and a lot of things, because you look at the hockey team, the Golden Knights, same sort of thing. They've taken, a better position, obviously going to the finals and stuff like that, but they're the same. Like you said, they're men and stuff like this. It's all about different priorities and getting caught up. But again,
who's the guardian?
It's the locker room. Right? Who teaches? Who taught you? Who taught me?
Well, John Gruden was supposed to be in charge of that locker room, but his ass is out the door.
So
I'm just saying, does it not look at? I always say, look at the why. Does it not the crumbling house of 10 for 100 million where it starts and it goes like that, and now it starts to fall down to what it was because structurally in that town with that for whatever reason they need to fix that because in less than a week, because I don't know about you guys, but when there's heat, right? The heat comes down, the coach gets fired. If you're doing shenanigans or doing things you shouldn't, the heat's on, so you're going to button it up for a bit. Then you have a teammate who kills somebody at 156 miles in their dog, right? More heat on the team, more lights on the team. So that's where the veterans, even to whatever, to the young guys, and then this happens to what Corey said, there's bigger issues. I'm saying that this is a bigger issue that at the end of the day, we're all responsible because we are adults, but it goes to culture, it goes to...
Do the wins make up for it, though?
Hold on.
Is at the end of the day...
Before we get into this, though, because I want to talk about this when we come back, but just like this alarm system, we need guardians on the field.
Well, we do. Guardian Alarm gets a good defense on and off the field, helps you feel secure. Guardian Alarm has state-of-the-art technology that helps you feel safe, all with 24-hour monitoring. Right from your phone. Guardian Alarm also has convenient features that you check in on your home, control lights, temperatures, detect smoke, or even the deadly silent killer, carbon monoxide. It will even let you lock and unlock your doors. So, like me, like Stick, like Joique, like Corey, you too. All you have to do, be a part of Guardian Alarm. Call 1-800.
Stay out.
That's 1-800.
Stay out.
You got to work on your harmonies, boys, if you're going to do this. One more time for everybody in the back. 1-800.
Stay out.
That was
Get out of my house.
That's
Get out of my house.
Stay out of Fish's house. Stay out of Stick's castle.
That's right.
That's 1-800 stay out for all you out there who didn't get that. Guardian Alarms have trust for over 90 years at keeping families safe. Guardian Alarm, your local security experts. We're Big D Energy. We'll be right back.
Tony is a third-generation logger that has a simple, practical approach to life and work. That's why his Coast DX342 knife is perfect for him. The stainless steel blade is rust-resistant and made for all-weather use. And the double roll-lock safety ensures that it will never inadvertently close when he doesn't want it to. That's why Coast is trusted tough.
Welcome back to Big D Energy, live on the Woodward Sports Network, and of course, the Roar all around Detroit. Thank you for listening. My name is Stick, filling in for Neil Rule, who is out there doing his thing with Oakland University basketball, calling the big games because he's got that $1 million voice, man, and I'm sitting in for him. Terry Foster will be in tomorrow, but right now we have Darren McCarty, we have Joique Bell, we have Corey Woods, Fish, and of course, Sawyer is in the building. DMac, you're known to be a little bit of a physical guy. You're known to, if somebody nudged you, you'd nudge them back probably 10 times harder.
It all depends.
Were you watching any NBA last night? Do you know what I'm alluding to?
Well, I watch highlights.
Okay.
So whenever there's a boxing match, goes in any sport, right? When you went to a hockey game or went to a boxing match and a hockey game broke out or whatever it is, when it happens in basketball, it always makes me laugh. Because, like, when have you ever seen just a stand back, boom, boom, throwing them fight, right?
Right.
So you haven't. But last night, the Joker had enough. Now come on, man. Markieff Morris, you don't, like, is he up for a movie role or something like that? That was more of a dive than anything, wasn't it?
Yeah, and it goes back to the don't start nothing, won't be nothing. He kind of gave Jokic a little bit of a shot, and then he got railed right in the back. And I don't know if you remember last year in the playoffs, Jokic's brother talking trash from the stands, but I would not mess with these farm boys. They are big fellas.
Look, I have a rule of thumb, I consider it. Here's the thing. Serbs and Samoans, leave them alone. Leave them alone. I don't care how tough you think you are. Serbs and Samoans, just walk away from that fight.
The problem I have is he hit him from behind.
Yeah.
Spin him around and slug him. You know what I'm saying? Like he
I
deserved.
don't mind it. He didn't punch him. He just gave him a little push.
No, he gave
in
him
the
a
back.
shot from behind. I'm saying if I have an issue with what happened, it's the fact that he hit him from behind like that. That is cheap.
Markieff Morris just put up this tweet. I'd love to see the hate. No doubt I took a hard foul, which I always do, and I'll never hit a man with his back turned. Luckily, we built different over here. I can take the hit, and then he just put Joker 1, Markieff 0, LOL. So at least he's being a good sport about it.
Corey.
But he got hit.
I you know what? I'm mixed on it. I'm in the middle because I will say, you know, to go up and hit him as hard as he did when his back was turned, yeah, that was cheap. But also at the same time, the Morris twins have a history of being physical with everybody in the league, and this is the first time that somebody really got physical back with them, and they ain't like the medicine.
Here's the question. The only question. Would Markieff Morris hit you from behind like that?
No, he wouldn't.
So if he would, if you think he would, then that's the only thing that I would justify that, like, because it's sort of how you deal with rats in hockey. Like one of the if a guy wouldn't think twice sticking you in the face, well, you better get your stick up and get him before he gets you.
Right.
That's your own fault for not knowing that, right? So, but if he wouldn't, then in the whole scheme of things, Markieff Morris, who is not even close, right, is doing his job and getting Jokic off his game, and that's how you affect a high-level player.
Listen, if that was a Piston doing it, I'd love it. That's bad boys basketball. I would love that in a Pistons uniform at this point. And I
think
like
if he
physical
spun him
play.
around and slapped him would have been even better.
There's that too. But obviously, physical things happen in all sports. But that was just such a crazy thing because you don't expect that out of Jokic. He's just kind of like this big plotting dude. He doesn't really show emotion often, but to see this.
I mean, when I looked at it, because when you see it real time, it's just like, oh, he just kind of like just bumped into it. But when you look at it real slow, Morris got that elbow into him, and Jokic must have just snapped and like, all right, you know what, I got you.
It was built up.
Because it's because he has that reputation. And y'all niggas just like, I'm not taking this. He was like, I know your MO. You know, it's kind of like when Sue stepped on
Dietrich Smith.
Yeah.
Dude, that's that triple-double and an injection. That's the Gordie Howe.
That's the Gordie Howe
basketball.
Right.
Thanks,
That's
Dabber.
the thing, though. It's like when you have that track record with players, like you can't let another player punk you because you know that's his MO doing that, and you're not about to be added to that roster. So I'm not. I mean, I don't think that was horrible. He gave him a shoulder to the back, and it was just he fell for it. It wasn't. I don't think it was that vicious to where it was just like
he could have hit him.
It wasn't.
If we would have punched him in the back.
It wasn't egregious.
Yeah,
it wasn't Patrick Beverly on Chris Paul.
No.
Yeah, last year.
Now that was cheap. That was cheap. Would you
say that was deserved? Like, even though it was for behind, the way that he did it, it was sort of deserved for the elbow that he took.
Hey, you know what?
I wasn't mad at it.
You know the wrestling term? That was a receipt.
That was a receipt. 100%.
That was a receipt.
100%. And it was a receipt not from probably this game, from last year. Receipts come in all packages.
Well, that's what I love about the two sports you guys played, hockey and football especially. Like, you get hit, you can take a guy's number, be like, all right, 35, next time I see you, you're about to feel me.
I'm going to tell you, so funny. So you guys might not know these guys, but Montel Owens, he played running back on the Lions when I was there. And then you also had George Wynn.
Oh, yeah.
All right, so they ended up releasing Montel Owens. He went to the Bears. And George Wynn they both were special team guys. And Montel was like a pro bowler special team guy. He was known for special teams. And then George Wynn was like this young scruffy dude who played for Cincinnati and then is from Detroit and was on the Lions. And so we're playing the Bears there. And on a kickoff, Montel Owens comes down and he lays George Wynn out. It was it just lays him out. The play's over, lays him out, boom, hits him. And the play was over, but he's just and George Wynn gets up. He looks at Montel, shakes his head, and so now we're on punt return, and they're punting to us, and you have Montel Owen at the wing position, and when I tell you that George Wynn, right, when George Wynn lined him up from 20 yards away and came down full speed and knocked the block off of Montel Owen, who was at that time a 10, 11-year vet, and Montel flew back about 5-6 yards, and helmet almost came off. That's what you can do in football.
Right.
That's what you can do. And Montel got up and kind of shook it off and looked at him, like, shook his head, like, okay, you got me back.
Here's the difference in hockey. I'm going to be standing at the bench yelling at you, here I come! You're not going to know.
All right, we out, man. Gang.
Yeah, have a great night. Corey, please do not have any activities tonight. We want the Wings to win.
Oh no, I've already seen the chat. They told me to chill out, So
relax.
All right, have a great Tuesday, everybody. Big D Energy will be back on tomorrow with Terry Foster as a special guest.
Woodward Sports is giving you a chance to sit front row on Thanksgiving. All you have to do is survive our Squid Games. Nope, our Turkey Games. Listen every day to the Morning Woodward Show at 9 a.m. Big D Energy at noon. And the bottom line at 3 p.m. for your chance to qualify. The winner of Turkey Games will get tickets to the Thanksgiving Day Detroit game.
Hey, it's Thanksgiving. Shouldn't you be in Detroit losing a football game right now?
Plus a turkey. So if you think you can master our Turkey Games challenges, watch, listen, and win. Make sure you're following @Woodward Sports on all social media, or go to woodwardsports.com for additional chances to qualify. May the best turkey win.